Yeah, our next speaker is Djurdjija from BOC Group. She is the
Hello.
product marketing manager. So she will be taking the floor now. Djurdjija, welcome. Nice to see you again.
Hi, Toya. Thank you. Nice to see you as well. I hope you can hear me.
So you have the floor. Yes, very well, loud and clear.
Good. Thank you. I will shortly share my screen. Let me know if you're seeing it, please. So, I guess you can see my screen now, right? Yes. Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome also from my side to my session, of course. My name is Djurdjija Radojevic, as Toyo nicely introduced me. I'm a product marketing management for ADOIT at the BOC Group. And at the BOC Group, we sell software that um, is used for business process management and enterprise architecture. And today I would like to talk to you about our product, ADOIT, that's dedicated to enterprise architecture. And of course, all throughout these sessions before me, you've heard that EA has become such a broad topic, right? But this is exactly why I would like to talk to you about one topic in particular, and that is, as you can see, democratizing enterprise architecture with ADOIT. So, how we aim to make it available to everybody. And so, without further ado, let's dive right in. So, let me start with the simple question. Is enterprise architecture only for architects? Because when people hear enterprise architecture, they often imagine something that's highly specialized, something technical, right? And as such, that's something that is seen as it's owned by a small expert group somewhere in IT. But if we look at the way that organizations actually transform today, so as they go from traditional methods to technology, as they shift to this technology way of work, we see something very different. We see that transformation is happening everywhere. What I mean by this is it's happening in business units where new services and business models are created, in IT departments where systems and platforms evolve, in innovation teams that are experimenting with new and emerging technologies such as AI right now, and of course in operations where processes are continuously optimized. So the real question becomes, can enterprise architecture truly create value if only a handful of experts understand it and can contribute to it? Well, my answer is no, because when EA stays isolated, it often turns into plain documentation. And as such, is that doesn't really bring much. Sure, it brings nice diagrams and analysis, but this is not what EA is truly about. EA actually becomes powerful when it becomes collaborative. And what I mean by this is when it connects business, IT, and strategy. This is when it comes to its true power and when it becomes something much more than plain documentation and diagrams and analysis. It becomes a driver of transformation. It supports your decisions while helping you transform to technology way of work. And this is exactly the idea behind what we call democratizing enterprise architecture. So, what does democratizing actually mean? Well, at its core, it means making architecture something that the whole organization can participate in. It makes it means making EA first of all accessible so people can easily interact with it, even if they are not EA experts. Then understandable, so it speaks the language of the business so that everybody understands it, usable so that it supports real business decisions, and collaborative, so multiple stakeholders that I've just mentioned, so people from IT, from marketing, from various business units, so all of those stakeholders can contribute. In other words, it means moving from this idea of architecture for experts to the idea of architecture for everyone. Now, this does not mean lowering standards or reducing architectural rigor. Instead, it means providing the right tools and structures so that different roles in the organization can engage with architecture in ways that make sense for them. And this is exactly where ADOIT comes in, because it helps democratize enterprise architecture through several key capabilities. First of which I would like to mention is ADOIT Lean Meta Model, which simplifies Archimate. Archimate is a powerful framework for EA, and ADOIT Lean Meta Model makes it much more usable for beginners and for non-architects, not experts. Secondly, I'd like to mention workspaces, which provide user-focused architecture services. And finally, I'd like to mention ADOIT forms, which make contribution easy and structured for everyone. And together, these elements make EA something that can be actively used across the organization, not just maintained by architects. Of course, now I've only mentioned this, but I will talk about each and every one of these concepts individually, and I will also show it to you in what it looks like in the tool. But for now, let me say that one of the strengths of EA is that it's not just of ADOIT, is that it's not just a modeling tool. So modeling is not the only thing that you can do with ADOIT. Instead, it's a platform that supports a wide range of enterprise architecture use cases, some of which you can see on the slide before you. So let's explain strategic planning, for instance. So if you only have a strategy on paper and it doesn't get translated, this strategy doesn't really mean much, right? Well, with ADOIT, you can actually translate your strategy into actionable steps. And this means connecting your capabilities to your strategy and then mapping those capabilities in a sense that, well, capabilities don't just happen on their own, right? They're supported by a bunch of processes. These processes rely on various applications. These applications are supported by system software and so on and so forth. So you can see how behind every strategy, there is a net of capabilities that is supported by an entire infrastructure on their own. And this is what ADOIT helps you see. So strategy, but also how it gets translated and how it gets transformed into actionable steps. The similar goes to all of our solutions. So capability-based planning, enterprise architecture design. One of the most important topics is, of course, application portfolio management, where you can plan your costs and investment strategies for your entire application portfolio, and so on and so forth. And what is great about this is that it's all supported with one tool. So you can even see how those things are interrelated and how one application, for instance, or one capability can be used for various use cases. But yeah, to make this possible, architecture also needs to be easy to work with, right? Because this might sound complex at first, and only architects could understand this. But what we aim to do is to make this accessible for everybody. And this brings me to my next topic, which is ADOIT Lean Meta Model. I've already mentioned it. So one of the biggest challenges, actually, when it comes to EA is its complexity. And why? Well, because it's usually supported by frameworks that are powerful yet complex. One such framework is Archimate, which ADOIT supports. So yes, it is powerful, but to be powerful, it also needs to cover various aspects. And as such, it can become complex, right? And as such, it can feel overwhelming, especially for organizations that are just starting their EA initiative. So they might not need all those complex elements, or they might be frightened by them, right? Where do I start? What do I do with all of this, all of these elements? How do I connect them to each other? Well, our answer to this complexity is ADOIT Lean Meta Model. And what it does is addresses this challenge by simplifying Archimate. So instead of exposing the full complexity of the language, it focuses on the most essential elements needed for a particular architecture work. And this reduces modeling complexity and allows teams to focus on what really matters for them. So it helps organizations focus on the key building blocks of architecture, Those might be capabilities, applications, technologies, and their relationships. And by doing that, the lean meta model supports business-driven architecture work rather than purely technical modeling. It also enables faster adoption of EA practices because teams can start simple and expand over time. So for starters, you might just need capabilities in their applications. And as your organization grows and as it evolves, so does its infrastructure. So then you might also connect these applications to your system software or to their underlying application interfaces, and so on and so forth. Another important aspect of Archimate Lean Meta Model is that it's fully customizable by you. So your organization can adapt the meta model to your own specific needs, maturity level, and governance approach. And as I said, you can choose the meta model at first and then expand it as you grow and as your architecture knowledge grows. However, democratizing architecture is not only about modeling. So yes, ADOIT Lean Meta Model is great, but it's also about enabling people to contribute information easily. So not to make it overwhelming, not to make it seem like every entry of every application or capability is a lot of work. And this is why we've developed ADOIT forms. And what ADOIT forms are is actually governance made easy. What I mean by this is that they make it easy for stakeholders across the organization to contribute their own information without needing to understand architectural modeling. And this changes the nature of governance. It makes it much less intimidating. So instead of it being about strict control, it actually becomes about visibility, insights, and learning. And the idea behind this is simple. You can register your applications, capabilities, technologies, whatever you choose. Like, let's say, organizations often struggle with shadow IT, and that is that people usually use applications that are not necessarily registered in their own portfolio. ADOIT forms make it easy for them to register those applications, and then for you as an EA expert or somebody who is in charge to see which applications actually bring something to you and which should be adopted by the whole organization and which not, and how these applications, for instance, influence your entire architecture. So forms allow people to easily register applications, technologies, or initiatives, and this brings visibility across the organization. I know it might sound vague to you right now, but as we move to the tool, you'll understand what I'm talking about. The second concept I mentioned are workspaces. And workspaces, what they do is they provide user-centric architecture services designed around specific use cases. So instead of asking user to navigate a complex repository, workspaces present the information in a way that is relevant to their role and their task. For instance, a workspace might focus on application investment planning or capability investment planning. And each workspace brings together the relevant data, visualizations, and analysis tools needed for that particular business scenario. And most importantly, these workspaces are designed for all stakeholders, so not just architects. They are guided, they are easy, and everybody can really contribute as they are intuitive and, we hope, very easy to use. In short, workspaces make enterprise architecture just that, easy. And with that, I would now like to switch to the tool demo so that you can see all of this, what it looks in practice. For that, I will shortly switch the screen. Give me a second. So I think you can see my screen again. And yeah, this is what ADOIT's home page looks like. So here you can see what I've recently opened, all my models and objects. Well, not all of them, but the most recently opened ones. And if I click on new here, you can see a variety of objects that ADOIT offers. So here you can see things like assessment, constraint, driver, goal, meaning, and there are actually around 50 elements right here. And this is what I was talking about. This is what Archimate is. It offers various elements which altogether are needed and can give you much information. But when you're only just starting your initiative, you might not need all of them. You could expand over time. And this is what ADOIT Lean is for. So if I go to my repository here, I've created in a model that shows an Archimate Lean meta model, what it looks like. So here you can see simply what it is, around 10 elements that you can use to start with. Of course, you can start with even less. This is just our best practices approach. So here you can see on a strategy layer, we have capability. On business layer, we have business object representation, business process, and business actor. In application, we have application component and application interface, and so on and so forth. So this is our suggestion on what to start with. Let's say you want to map your capabilities, what your organization is able to do. You can map your capabilities and then connect your application components, in which way, and business processes, in which way you can see how your capability is actually being realized by those processes. And this process in turn is realized by this application component, and so on and so forth. So this is how you can start your initiative, simply by modeling all of your capabilities, all of your application components, and whatever other element you choose from ADOIT Lean architecture. Now, as you've seen, you can create them right here by clicking on new, and then let's say you want to create a capability, then there is a whole list of things that you need to do before you create one in your repository. However, we now wanted to make this easier for people. So not only for enterprise architecture experts who know every little thing about a capability or every little thing about an application. And this is what ADOIT forms are about. This is our special registering tool. So we wanted to make registration of applications much easier than it is for EA experts. And if you give it a second, it will load, and you'll see a questionnaire that one needs to fill in order to register a new application. Right here, it's loading. So for instance, let's say that somebody wants to register an application they've been using, and they might think that it could be of value to other people throughout the organization as well. They could propose an application by clicking on proposal, and here is a questionnaire. It's really easy. It's for non-EA experts, so everybody knows what the application name is, right? So here you would just enter its name. Here you would say what the application is for, right? You can add any description that you like. Which business units are using the application? Let's say we can say check-in staff. Which technologies does your application and end user application use? And so on and so forth. And when you're done with answering these really simple questions, you can click on submit. What's really good about this questionnaire is that it's also very customizable. So you, as an enterprise architect, or as an expert, you can create your own set of questions that everybody could fill out and adapt this questionnaire to your own organization's needs. And when somebody clicks on submit, okay, sorry, now I need to fill out all the other entries. Just give me a sec. I will submit this application. And then you, as an owner of your repository, you can click on approvals, and then you can choose whether or not this application gets approved into your repository. I will show it to you right now. So in my approvals, you will see the application that we have just proposed, and you as an owner can either reject it or approve it. If you approve it, it lands into your repository. Now back to ADOIT. So if you approve if you approve the application that's been registered, it can land right here in the repository. Or you can also set your ADOIT in a way that you don't need approvals, and then as soon as somebody fills in an application form, it lands in your repository. And this is the way you can fill in your repository, which then grows as your organization grows. And then you can do various analysis, such as, let's say, you want to analyze your boarding process management capability. In Insights, you will see all the processes that it's connected with, or the application, so all the requirements there are for this capability, the system software that supports this capability, the value stream, and so on and so forth. So here you can see this interrelated net of objects between your elements in ADOIT. However, this might still be for EA experts. What is not for EA experts are the workspaces that I've mentioned. So if you switch the scenario, you'll see that we offer various templates. And as I said, each of them is dedicated for one particular business need. So let's say you want to do application investment planning. What you need to do is simply create and click new workspace, use a template, give it a name, add any colleagues you'd like to collaborate with, and create a workspace. Now, this is a workspace for applications. So you might add check-in application. This is the application that already exists in your repository, or you can add new ones right here on the spot. You can add boarding application here. And here you can see business fitness and IT fitness. Now, in order not to lose our valuable time here, I will switch to the already created workspace, application investment planning, where you can see that I've added a couple of my applications in my airport repository. So imagine that we are in a scenario of an enterprise architect at an airport. Now, here I would add a couple of applications to my scope. So all the applications that I would like to evaluate. And my next step is to evaluate their business and IT fitness. How I would do this is simply by answering a survey right here. So I can either assess it on my own or delegate it to a colleague. Here you can see that this survey has already been filled out. This one is pending and this one is completely empty. So if I click on assess, I can see a set of questions that's also customizable by you. And if I answer them, I can see the score right here. My next step would be time definition. So for all my evaluated applications, the ratio between IT and business fitness would be shown on a time model. So these are my evaluated applications. The non-evaluated are still waiting here. And I can see that I should invest in a check-in application. I should tolerate immigration and customs application. I should eliminate one, and I should migrate boarding application. So these are my next steps. Now I know, based on its business and IT ratio, what I need to do about my applications. In the third step, because the second step is evaluated by ADOIT, in the third step, you can confirm this strategy or move it around. Maybe of course, it says that the ratio is so good that I should definitely invest in my application, but I currently maybe not have the resources for it. So I will tolerate it for now. So you can choose this. You can change this decision. And as a next step, you can see the summary. So you can see that I have 18 applications in total in this workspace, and I have 5 applications with accepted investment strategy. And what's best about this is that everybody really can do it, because this is very intuitive, it's guided, no enterprise architecture knowledge is required whatsoever, and you can contribute all your knowledge. So if you're in charge of one application and you're not an architecture expert, you still know how to answer these questions, like, does the application support one or more core processes or capabilities, and to what extent? You know if it supports one process or more. You can know if it helps you create competitive advantage. Those are all questions that are not necessarily answered by EA experts, but that can be answered by anybody in your organization, really. And of course, as I said, the questionnaire is customizable, so you can adapt it to your needs and to the knowledge of your colleagues across the organization. And now, for now, we have application investment planning, we have application-based roadmap, capability-based roadmap, goal-based roadmap, and we're currently working on more business use cases that will be available to everybody with ADOIT 19. this is the tool demo that I've prepared for you. Of course, we don't have enough time for me to show every single functionality right here. So I would like to continue with my presentation right here. So what you've seen in ADOIT is hopefully now it's clearer how these concepts that I mentioned, like ADOIT forms, workspaces, and all the solutions that ADOIT offers, how these concepts translate into practical architecture work. So now you see that democratizing enterprise architecture means enabling more people in the organization to participate in shaping the future landscape. And that's exactly what ADOIT is designed to support. As you've seen, it offers multiple business-driven solutions. You've seen application investment planning, you've seen capability-based road mapping, application-based road mapping, and so on. You saw how it simplifies modeling through ADOIT Lean Meta Model. You've seen how it enables contribution through forms, so a very intuitive registering form, and you've seen how it supports collaboration with your workspaces. So everybody that you invite to your workspace can collaborate on it, can evaluate your applications, can create next steps for roadmaps, and so on and so forth. And now I would like to finish this presentation with what I believe is a takeaway of this presentation, and that is that if transformation is everyone's responsibility, then enterprise architecture must be everyone's platform. So if you want everybody to contribute to EA, then we need to make EA, or in this sense, an EA tool, very easy, very intuitive, and guided, just as ADOIT is. Now, as I've already mentioned, this might still seem overwhelming or may seem a bit vague, but this is just due to the limited time that we have today. However, we did prepare a webinar service that is upcoming, first of which is planned for the 24th of March, where I will explain each of these concepts in one particular webinar. So if this sounds interesting or something that you would like to learn more about, I'd like to invite you all to our upcoming webinar series, where we'll talk about each of these topics in one dedicated webinar. So we'll start with ADOIT Lean Meta Model. I will explain everything about it. Then in the second webinar, we will talk about workspaces, and we will finalize this webinar series with scenario planning. And scenario planning is our dedicated solution for planning different alternatives. So for instance, if one application needs to be changed, you can see what happens to your entire architecture if you migrate it, if you decommission it, or if you invest in it. More on this, as I said, in the upcoming webinar series. Now, the registration is very easy. If you're interested in this, you can simply scan this QR code right here on your screens and register for the webinar series. As I said, the first part is planned for March 24th. So please feel free to register and join our series. If you're not available at that time, you can always find all our events on our website, boc/group.com. And then you can go to events and find all ADOIT events, previous and planned, on one page. If, however, my presentation today made you want to have your own personalized demo already, then you can scan this QR code right here, where you can fill out a registration form, and this will lead you directly to me or one of my colleagues, where you can register, where you can get your own personalized demo. And yeah, with this, I would like to thank you all for the attention and invite you to connect with us on LinkedIn. Have a look at our webinars and regional events on our website, trending topics in BPM, EA, and GRC, and of course, see updates, news, and highlights all in our bocgroup.com newsletter. Thank you once again. I hope you like this presentation, and I will leave you with Toya now.
Yeah, thank you so much, Djurdjija. It's a wonderful presentation. We really appreciate you and the time you've given to this conference today. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity
now
to present.
We'll be rounding up. Yeah, we'll be rounding up now. And we are partners with BOC Group. Yellomind is a partner with BOC Group, so you can easily reach out to us through our contacts. If you are interested in keying into the ADOIT, we will be available to link you up with BOC. Thank you so much, BOC Group.